What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and I just got back a couple more boxes from CGC. We're going to check out how I did on these grades. I have not checked the grades yet. I've got my estimates down here. See how I did with those, and then at the end of the video, we're going to go over values as well. Let's check these out. Alright, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So, if you haven't watched one of these videos before, what I've done is I've submitted a number of books to CGC to get graded. Now, all of these went to my presser first. That's the comic book presser. I sent all the comics that I've gotten back, as well as the magazine submission part of it that I've gotten back before this. Now, this is all part of a collection that I bought earlier this year, I think around January of this year. Bought it from Flip Mode Comics. They were selling this collection on Instagram, and it was a bunch of Vampirella magazines, Eerie magazines, Creepy magazines, and then some Star Trek Gold Key books, as well as a few other things kind of like sprinkled in there. And this was from an original owner collection where he had taken really good care of these books. Basically, he put them in these old bags like 50 years ago and just kind of like stacked them in boxes, I guess. And they didn't have any boards or anything. And so when I got them, if you haven't watched that original video where I got the collection, I re-released it recently, so you can go and check that out. But I got them, they were in these older bags, and it was just fun taking each one out because I didn't really know what the grade was gonna be until I got it out of the bags because they were so kind of like yellowed and cloudy. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun getting these, a lot of high grade books. And in that prior video that I did where I got back the moderns, I got back 2 9/4s. I mean, these are really nice books. So I'm hoping for something similar here. Now, with the magazines, they have changed their cases over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, 5 months. And I have gotten some back for these new cases already, obviously. And they're so much nicer than the old cases. Much sturdier, a lot clearer. So happy to see how these turn out. Now, with the CGC comic submission, you can get back 25 books per box. But with the magazines, I thought it was going to be the same. So when I sent in 22, I thought it'd come back in one box. But the max, it seems, is 20. And so they sent it back in 2 separate boxes. So I've got that smaller box here, and then I have the bigger box with 20. So I'm gonna open the smaller box first, and then I'm going to move on to the other one. I'm gonna do 11 books in this video. I'm gonna do 11 books in a follow-up video, and like I said, we'll go over values at the end. So I'm gonna cut this one open. All right, so now I'm going to get these out, and it's going to take a second because usually they wrap like rubber bands and crap around them. But I'm going to, all right, I'm going to bringing the book down from the top and I'll try just covering the grade with my hand this time. So you can actually see the full book, and I'll talk about the book, what my grade estimate was, and we'll see how I did. So this is issue number 16, and I actually had a huge grade range for this book. I don't do this very often, but there were some things I wasn't sure what would come out of it. And so this one I had as a 6.5 to a 9.6. Now, there was a large, I think like non-color break crease here, and I think there are also some like fingerprints, and I wasn't sure how they were going to hit the fingerprints. I don't know if I've had one come back with fingerprints yet. I don't think so. I haven't had many books with fingerprints. And when it's fingerprints, it means the book was touched like 50 years ago, and it's degraded the oils from your finger like degrade the book and the ink and everything. And so there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like you can remove them. But yeah, so I had this one as a 6.5 to a 9.6. Let's see how we did. All right, 8.5, right in the middle. This is actually the, little scratches on this case maybe, but not bad. But this is actually the first appearance of Dracula, I believe, in the title. Yes, it is. All right, so first full Dracula appearance in title. And so that's kind of a big deal for Vampirella having that Dracula crossover. And so this is actually a relatively expensive book for this. Now, let's see if the crease came out. It looks pretty good. I don't see that crease anymore. It was like think it was like almost full length, but I didn't think it broke fiber or color. So I'm wondering if it's the fingerprints. I think they're like, yeah, you can see them, these little like white marks. Those are fingerprints that are on the book. And I actually brought my other phone here so that I can scan the QR code and we can check the grader's notes and we can kind of like confirm for sure. So it says light fingerprints on cover, light spine stress lines to cover. So I think what really kept this book back were those multiple fingerprints that were there, because I mean, this is an amazing copy. I mean, you can see there's like 3 spine ticks, you know, like a few spine ticks, and I mean, super sharp edges, really sharp corners, everything else. And I think that's what those fingerprints did. You know, what I think probably would have been like a 9.4 type book down to an 8.5. So just so you know what fingerprints can really do to a book. You know, because I mean, look at the back too. I mean, this thing is in incredible shape otherwise. Very, very clean copy of this book. It's too bad it's not 9.4, but hey, you know, is what it is. So now let's get the other book out of this box, and then we can move on to the larger box. Let's see what this one is. All right, so Vampirella number 12. So this one I had as a 9.2 to a 9.4. So again, I mean, really nice, clean looking copy. See how we did? Oof. 8.5. I definitely must have missed something with that. Man, what did I miss? I don't know. What did I miss on this book? Let's take a look here. Let's see what the grader's notes say. So it says light creasing to cover, light, is this the right one? Light spine stress lines to cover. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess it just must have been maybe the creasing somewhere. Maybe I missed it or something like that. But yeah, I mean, because I had that as a 9.2 to a 9.4 and 8.5. That's awful, quite a bit on that one. I actually had another book in the last video where it was a 9.2, 9.4, and I got an 8.5. Was that one also fingerprints? I can't remember. I think that one might have, no, that one had scratches on the back cover. That's what that one had, but oh well, you know, I feel like this is probably like a break-even type book. I feel like this one might not, probably wasn't really worthwhile submitting, getting an 8.5, but you know, it's okay. Not the end of the world. Since it's part of this larger collection, and I've already sold a number of the books from it, I mean, having something where it's kind of like break even on the pressing and cleaning and all that isn't a big deal. All right, so now we've got the other box that has 20 books in it. We're gonna do 9 of those here, and then I'm gonna have a separate video with the other 11. So, this one open. All right. Okay, so I don't know which side, I don't know if they're in order or anything like that, so I'm going to start pulling these books out and we will see how we did. So first one here is Vampirella number 1. So if you watched the last video, I already got one of these back. I submitted 3 total. The highest grade copy I sent in the high value tier. These 2 I sent in the vintage tier. And so this is a Frank Frazetta cover, very popular book, most expensive book from the run. Also the first appearance and origin of Vampirella. So this is the lower grade copy of them all. I had this one as a 3 to a 3.5. All right, 4.0. I will take that. I mean, every half grade in this book is a big deal. So 4.0, very happy with that. And you can see there's wear to the cover. There's a little piece here, some chipping and stuff down here, some wear to the back. And yeah, it's a 4.0 book, but yeah, very, very happy getting a 4.0 on that one. So if they are in order, that means the next one, I'm hoping they're in order. They aren't always. They don't always get put in order. If they're in order, the next one is the other copy. Yes, other copy of Vampirella number 1. So this one I actually picked up at that local show I go to. I had this one at a 4.5 to a 5. The main thing was this like corner up here, but I mean, it looks a lot better than I remember. I thought I remembered there like being like a piece missing here or something, but maybe it was just folded over the back. It might have been it was just folded over the back, because it looks way better now. I thought it was like a big, kind of a relatively large chunk, kind of like where those crease lines were. This actually looks really good. So it's like I said, that's why I always, you know, unless it's like missing pieces, or not missing pieces, but missing like a part of the book, like a page or a centerfold or something, always get your books pressed and clean first. It's just, it's not that expensive, and it just helps guarantee that you're gonna get the maximum value out of them when you get them graded. And so, yeah, I mean, I had it as a 4.5 to a 5, but that looks, I think I undergraded that one. Let's see. Oh yeah, 6.5, definitely. And that's a huge deal. Partly because I paid up quite a bit for this book. It's one of those things, like when I see it at a show, and if it's a decent price, I'll end up buying it. And I think he had it as a 5.0 as well. And so yeah, real happy to get a 6.5 out of this book. But man, like I said, it looks way better than I remembered. I mean, I might have to go back and rewatch that video, because I thought I remembered that piece being bigger out of the top there. So it must have been folded back, and then during pressing it got all, you know, made flush again. Because yeah, I mean, nice looking book, not much spine damage, nice edges and corners and all of that. And it just, the main thing is this, because I remember the back was pretty nice on this one. Yeah, this is a book that's really known for color rub, and not a lot of color rub on this copy. It's because of this solid red, you end up getting a lot of color rub there. I've talked about this before, very similar to like Batman 181. You get a lot of color rub on that book too. All right, so yeah, very happy with that. So if they're in order, it means that the next book should be issue number 2. Let's see. Yes, all right, issue number 2. This is the first appearance of Vampirella's cousin. This is not a Frazetta cover, but I've always liked this cover. It really has that like fantasy Dungeons and Dragons, you know, type, you know, style to it. I've always thought this is a really great cover. Like, just very bright, it's very different from what you normally would see from like Frank Frazetta. So I had this one as an 8 to an 8.5. Let's see how we did. All right, 8.5 and white pages. So yeah, the last submission, that are the books that I got back before, the issue 39, 40, 45, and the other Vampirella one, those were all white pages. So I mean, this collection had really high quality books. I mean, I think those other two that came out in the other box, I believe those were both off white to white. But yeah, I mean, which is still fine. But yeah, white pages always nice to see. And I think with this one, the main thing was just the spine. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, it has some spine wear. And I can't remember if I talked about it in this video or not, but it's one of the things I'm always, with magazines, I have not submitted a lot of magazines, and so I haven't been super confident about my grading on them, and I just tend to grade them like comics, and I seem to undergrade them a little bit, so we'll see. I mean, like that Vampirella one, they got a 6.5. I mean, that was definitely undergraded. But yeah, I had it as 8 to an 8.5, got the 8.5. Real happy with that. This is definitely a book that's been getting more expensive. There have been some pretty decent sales for it. Yeah, take a look at the back. Back looks nice. I mean, these are pretty clean books. I mean, this is 1969. I mean, the first couple issues are technically Silver Age. All right, so the next one, hopefully it's number 3. 3 is a pretty big book in the Vampirella run, and it's a really cool cover. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so issue number 3. So also not a Frazetta cover, but this one, it's at least rumored to be a low distribution book, meaning there weren't as many that were printed and sent out. But I've also heard that there were rumors that was maybe a rumor spread by somebody who had a whole bunch of them, and it's just carried through over the years. So I don't know for sure, but I really like this cover. I like the white. It's very different from what you get with a lot of the Vampirella books. And it's got this kind of like cool sci-fi futuristic kind of creature or ship on the front. It almost looks like it's like a living creature. That's what I've always felt it is. But you know, with the standard Vampirella good girl art type stuff on there. But yeah, I had this one as an 8.5. 9.0. Nice. Off-white to white pages. Yeah. 9.0 is, I mean, that is a nice copy for this book. So yeah, there's the back cover. Yeah, very happy with that. Yeah. 9.0 is a really good grade for that book. I'll be interested to see what a 9.0 in this one goes for. So yeah. So far so good. Other than that one. All right. Let's see. Hopefully they're in order, because that would mean the next one is issue number 5, which is a Frank Frazetta cover. Yeah, issue number 5. So this is, just like this cool kind of like prehistoric. Again, you've got the good girl art. You've got this awesome dinosaur on there that Frazetta did right there. And you see you've got his signature on the cover there. So. And the other thing I really like about this one is this, like the green coloring on the top. It just really pops on this. So I had this one this is another one I had as a pretty big range. I had it as an 8.0 to a 9.2. And the reason was because of what I thought were probably production defects on the bottom and top edge. I've seen it with a lot of magazines in the Vampirella run and others. And so I think it's probably just part of like the cutting process, but I wasn't sure. And so I thought an 8.0 to a 9.2, depending on how that gets graded. So let's see how we did. Oh man, 9.4 that's a big book. That is a pretty pricey book. So let's see if they're still there. Yeah, there it is. So that's what I was talking about. This like kind of like wrinkling on the bottom there. And I thought that was probably a production defect. It was along the top edge of 2, if I remember. Yeah, I think right. See if, I don't know. Yeah, so you can see it there along the top edge too. So I was pretty sure that was a production defect, but I wasn't confident. Like I said, I haven't submitted a lot of magazines, virtually no magazines, only 3 before this. But I'd seen it. Like that's one of the things you can kind of do is you can go through other books, you can look at pictures of graded books, and if you try to find certain types of things in those books, and if you see them, helps you know if they're production flaws or not, or something that's actually going to lower the grade. And I thought that was probably a production type defect, which, I mean, with a 9.4 tells me it is. And yeah, that's awesome. Like, I mean, Frank Frazetta cover, one of the real big covers for him from this run in a 9.4 off-white to white. Yeah, that's great. I am very happy about that. All right, so means the next one should probably be issue number 6. Seems like they're all in order, so I'm just gonna assume they're in order now. Yeah, issue number 6. And so this is not a Frazetta cover, but I did have a bunch of people tell me when I did the video where I showed these books originally that I believe like Frazetta drew her face on the cover. So he did something on there, but it's not like a Frazetta cover. So I had this one as an 8.5 to a 9. All right, got the 8.5. Happy with that. One of those books that's going to be a little tougher to get in grade because it has, the black bordering on it. It's just going to show every flaw, and you can see, you can see those spine ticks that are there on this book. And then back cover is, on these ones they're white. They change from white to like being a colored back cover a little bit later, but a lot of these earlier ones are white. So it's going to be tough to see the flaws on those, but yeah, 8.5. Happy with that. Yeah, if it's within the grade range that I submitted, it meant that I felt like it was worthwhile at that grade. And if it's above it, that's always even better. So next one, yeah, number 7. So this is another Frazetta cover, awesome saber-tooth cover, the good girl art or whatever you want to call it type cover. You've got the, there it is, the Frazetta signature down on the bottom there. So this one, I didn't think this one I had very high. No, an 8 to an 8.5, but the Frazetta books carry more value than just about any of the other books in the run. And so they tend to be more worthwhile, even if they aren't in the, the 9s or the high 9s. Like some of these books, they aren't worthwhile to submit unless you're getting in the 9s. But yeah, I had this one as an 8 to an 8.5. All right, 8.0, I will gladly take that. Again, another one that has the, all the black, so just gonna show flaws a little bit more. But yeah, it has more of the damage on this one was kind of down here. Got the, you know, the crease down in the corner there. But yeah, and again, white back cover, so you're not gonna be able to see much there. But yeah, very happy again with that. 8.0 on one of the other kind of like big Frazetta covers from this run. Now, I don't know if I'll get to it in this video. My favorite cover is probably issue 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2 more. I don't. If they're in order, I don't think I'm going to get to it in this video. So you'll have to stay tuned for the next video to see issue number 11, because this should be issue number 8. Yeah, this is issue number 8. So this is actually also a Ken Kelly cover. I talked about him in the prior video because he did the cover for issue 39 that I got back, and he's Frank Frazetta's nephew. And I talked about it in that video, but he's very well known in the kind of like for the Warren covers. Warren is who did, you know, the Vampirella books. They also did the eerie and creepy books, but he also did some album covers for Kiss, for example. So he's really well known with this kind of like style. But yeah, this one, issue number 8, I had this one as an 8.5 to a 9. All right, 9.0. Happy to get the upper end of that range. Just, you know, kind of like a cool cover. Again, you got this like sacrifice cover, Vampirella on there. And just a really nice copy of this book. I think main thing is probably just spine wear. I mean, for the most part, with these like really high grades, when you're getting in the 9s and that kind of thing, spine wear is really kind of like predominantly where what is gonna end up hitting you. All right, so that means one more, and then I'll stop the video, go look up values, then we'll talk about values of these books, or approximate values of these books. So that means the next one should be 10. This was a really nice copy. So let's see. Yeah, this is all orange cover. I just thought this was a really cool cover. I had this one as a 9.2. I mean, in general, just super clean cover. It had what I also thought was probably a little production defect here, because when I looked at it, it didn't look like it was actually like a scrape to the cover. It looked like it was part of the ink. But yeah, I had this one as a 9.2. Got the 9.2 and white pages. So yeah, I am, you know, very happy about that. You know, 9.2. I mean, getting these books in these like 9.0, 9.2. I mean, that 1.94, like these really high grades for these books from early 70s, late 60s is just, I don't know, it's just crazy. Especially since, like I said, that none of them were boarded. None of them had boards to, you know, keep them safe, just kind of like stacked on top of one another. So 9.2. All right, so that is the that's the last of the books. So I'm gonna take a break here. I'm gonna go look up values. It'll be quick for you. It'll take a while for me, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about values of these books.
2,000 years later.
All right, so we are back. I have looked up what approximate values of these books are, what I think they would go for, and we're just going to go in reverse order. So we'll start here with this one, this Vampirella number 10 and a 9.2. I have this one at $275, and so that's what I'm talking about. Like, I mean, a 9.2 high grade, I mean near mint minus book. And, you know, $275 is pretty affordable for really high grade like that. So, yeah, $275 for that one. So then we move on to issue number 8 and a 9.0. I have this one at $165. So generally for me, I felt like if it was going to be over $100, it was probably worthwhile for me to send it in. I think that would help me get the most value out of the book. So over $100, I felt like it was worthwhile. And like I said, this one, I think about $165 for a 9.0 white pages copy. All right. Next one here is number 7. This, you know, Frazetta, just awesome saber tooth cover. This one for an 8.0, I have as $200. So an 8.0, so you can see like this one lower grade, but being a Frazetta cover, you know, 8.0 goes for more. So $200 for that one. All right. Now the next one here, we've got an 8.5 of issue number 6. And this one is $125. So this is where it's starting to flirt with that line of, you know, is it worthwhile to me to send it in? And so I mean, pressing, cleaning, grading, you know, combined for a vintage tier, it's somewhere around $50. Then you've got, and that's why I like to submit a lot of books together. That makes it so the shipping cost isn't a big deal. You know, it kind of becomes about like a dollar per book, you know, something like that. But yeah, so $125, still worthwhile to send this one in. So 8.5. Now this one, this is definitely a more pricey book. You know, issue number 5, this Frazetta cover in a 9.4. I have this one at $550. Yeah, so definitely a more pricey book when you've got a Frazetta cover, high grade, and yeah, $550 for issue number 5. And it's one of those, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it would go for a little bit more. But yeah, approximately $550. Then we've got issue number 3, just this one that supposedly low distribution, but in a 9.0, also pretty pricey, $325 for issue number 3 in a 9.0. Then we are moving on to issue number 2 in an 8.5, white pages. I have this one at $300. And another one that maybe could go for a little bit more. There have been some higher sales, but it seems like maybe that there's like one like really high outlier sale, and then some others have corrected a little bit. So yeah, so this one I have at approximately $300. Now we are, let's see, I think we're on to the issue number 1s. So we have Vampirella number 1 in a 6.5. I have this one at approximately $1,050. There's a pretty decent gap between about a 6.5 and a 7. It seems like that's where you start to get some gaps up with this book. I wouldn't be surprised if I could get a little more than $1,050 for this one. You know, maybe something like $1,200. It's one of those books where, you know, maybe I'll try to aim a little high and we'll see where it goes. But yeah, 6.5, Vampirella number 1. Yeah, very happy with that one. That was like I said, a very pleasant surprise for that book. Then we've got the 4.0. And so for this one, I have it at $625. So you can see even the low grade of issue number 1 is the most expensive book that we've talked about in this video, other than the 6.5 of issue number 1. So yeah, still a very expensive book, even in lower grade. Then we've got issue number 12. This is the one that was kind of like skirting the line of now based on what it got, because I thought it would be a 9294, which in that case it would be worth sending in, but at an 8.5, I have it as $80. So, you know, this one it's not break even, but you're not making a lot on one of these books when they're coming back and their value is below $100. Just between the pressing and cleaning and grading fees and everything, it eats into most of that. And then we've got issue number 16 in an 8.5. This is still a pretty pricey book. 8.5, got it at $200 for that first appearance of Dracula in the crossover. So yeah, overall, real happy with the submission. I had, you know, no, not this one. I had the one big disappointment, which was this book, but definitely the 6.5 in the issue number 1 totally made up for that, as well as the 9.4 for issue number 5. So very happy with this. So make sure, if you want to see more videos like this, if you want to see the other books that I got back in the submission, and like I said, that issue number 11 is like my favorite cover, and that's going to be in the next one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you want to see more videos. Got more videos over here. Got the subscription button right here. And I will see you in the next video.